What was your vice then? What was the final straw for you to go, I'm done here?
Then thoughts and the feelings that you were having from the grieving, from all the injury struggles. Everyone struggles, but a lot of people bottle it in. I bottled it in for 6-7 years. You know, since I put that statement out there, I think it was last Wednesday night. Things went pretty mad.
Don't just talk it, walk it.
Harri Morgan in the house. How you doing, brother?
Hey mate, yeah, all good. Good to be here. Nice, get a conversation going.
Yeah, man. How's the little journey up here today?
Yeah, it was good. Long train journey. I think I was up at about 6:30 this morning to get up here. But no, good. Challenging myself to get out the house and try different things. My first time in Manchester.
Yeah.
So have a little look around the city.
Nice, mate. It's a nice little spot here. It's quite quirky. I moved in January and I've just been amazed by everything. I still need to go to a United game or a Man City game, but I need to do a bit of that. But it's a good little spot up here.
Yeah, as a Liverpool fan, I don't think I'll be going to a United game anytime soon.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, good spot and a lot different to the valleys where I'm from. Do you know what I mean? There's not much greenery going on up here. It's a lot of buildings.
Yeah.
But no, yeah, different.
Mate, it's a different world in the valleys, isn't it? Humble beginnings.
Exactly, yeah, exactly.
Where in the valleys you from?
So I'm from Maesteg.
Maesteg.
Yeah.
Nice little valley. I remember when we were younger from Bridgend, mate, I used to hate going up there because we'd always get our heads kicked in. Like, win or lose, we'd always get beaten up or something, you know, or someone would scrap us and we'd be called townies and everything. It's just a funny, it's like so close, but such a rivalry.
Yeah.
You know?
The rivalry is quite weird because you said it's literally like 10 minutes down the road. One road in, one road out to Maesteg. But no, yeah, as you said, townies. That's what I'd call Bridgend people still. The townies.
I got a lot of love for Maesteg though. It's a good area. And just obviously we were talking really about a connection up there that kind of made this all happen, man. But it's, how to say, it's a lot has been going on for you lately. The news, TV, how have you found it, or how have you found like all the publicity from what's been going on lately?
Yeah, it's been a whirlwind to say the least. You know, since I put that statement out there, I think it was last Wednesday night. Things went pretty mad. But for the good reason. Yeah. There was no negative stuff about it. Do you know what I mean? Everyone was thankful for me coming out and speaking my story and how a lot of people related to that. And I guess that was the whole point of me doing that, was to be able to share my story and to say, it's okay to talk about it. It's okay to just open up and say, look, we're struggling. Everyone struggles, but a lot of people bottle it in. I bottled it in for 6-7 years. And now that I've got it out there, got a massive weight is lifted off my shoulder. Yeah. I can go places, people know my story. They're not asking me questions about it. Do you know what I mean? Nothing's changed. Yeah. It's just everything's changed for myself. It's out there now, and I've got nothing to hide.
Amazing, man. It's pretty powerful doing what you're doing, and just still young, mate. Like, still young, still got a lot ahead of you, but more importantly, like, you speaking about, you know, your hardships. I think it just, like I said, helping others, but just like even you just saying, and that weight that's just lifted off you talking about these things. So we'll bring it back and kind of talk about it all, but more importantly, like, you know, when it started, you were the Ospreys, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Ospreys.
And just from that, you know, probably, or like I said, being a valley boy, playing rugby his whole life probably, and then, you know, the opportunities come in. And what people don't tend to know about with when you do these sports, you know, they see you doing well, and, you know, it's a common question then, Harri, rugby player. It's like an identity connected to who you are. So then when you know, things aren't going well or things are going great, you know, it's great when everything's going well. Yeah. But when there's hardships happening, it's a different ball game. So just give a bit of an explanation, on what's happened and just, you know, what has led you to where you are now. Yeah.
So as you said there, just touching it with, like, everyone comes up to speak to you as if rugby's like a dream job. And from the outside, it looks good. It's all bells and whistles, you know, it's a pretty good job, but they don't see the tough times that you go through in the training ground. They don't see anything that's behind the camera. That's all they see is you playing on the weekend, of clips of you in training where you look happy throwing a rugby ball around, but it's not all that. So going back to the beginning, I started rugby when I was about 11, 12. Big rugby family, come from a big rugby family. Said valleys, there's 4 rugby teams within my Mystic Valley, so rugby was always something that I was going to go into. And then sort of kicked on from there, really. I got picked up at quite a young age by the Ospreys. So I was 15 going into the academy, and then my sort of development got accelerated quite a lot. So I played like a year up for like Wales age grade, so 16s, 18s, 20s. I was always like the youngest in there. Everything going well, plain sailing, you know. I was on track to do good in the game. I signed a contract at a young age with the Ospreys. I was the first player born this century to play in the league. So then it was all good. Like that was the dream job then, for me and for people looking in. But then around the age of sort of 19, 20, that's when the injuries started to come. So the effects injuries had on me then was massive, because previously to this, so about 2016, 17, I lost my both grandparents. 2016, 17, around there. And that was quite suddenly. So I lost my grandmother to a heart attack, which was sudden, came out of nowhere. And then a couple of months later, my grandfather got diagnosed with cancer, and he was in stage 4. So there was nothing they could do for him. So it was caring for him until it was his time. And I was really close to both my grandparents. Grew up in their house, back and forth there all the time. You know, they looked after me a lot. So that was really hard. The grieving stage was really hard. But at that age, 2016 to 2018, I had rugby. I didn't get those injuries. I had rugby to escape from all of the like outside world's problems. So I knew for 80 minutes on that pitch, everything was gone. It was just rugby. But then all of a sudden, as I said, injuries started coming along, and I didn't have that 80 minutes every week on a pitch where I could escape and release everything. All of a sudden, I was going every week into the rehab room, doing rehab, getting physio treatment, and that was my day. I had no other focus. I didn't go into anything because as a rugby person, that's all I ever knew. I left straight from school to play rugby. So yeah, it was tough not having that escape, and then thoughts and the feelings that you were having from the grieving, from all the injury struggles, it just built up in my head then. And as you said, I had no way of getting rid of them, man.
Wow. It's powerful, man, and it's so true, and so many people can relate to that. It's I've been there, and it's like you said, it's one of those things. People use sports or gym as an escape, and when things don't go, you know, when injuries happen, you can't. That's not your escape anymore. So it's like, whoa, these things that I've ignored or not looked in on head on, then we kind of go, well, shit, I need to deal with these things now. And then I don't know if you ever noticed then that when you got fit again, did those feelings go?
So I got fit again. Those feelings go, but then I got pretty unlucky that I was to now. So for about 3 or 4 years, I've had injury. I'd play 1 or 2 games, feelings would go, and I had another injury, another long-term injury. So I was like, with my knee, I was 6 months, come back, done my hip, was out for 12 months with my hip. Come back, then done my foot, then done my ankle. Do you know what I mean? So it was like cycle of 6 months of pain, of the thoughts in my head. Then I'd have 3 or 4 weeks where I'd be like, oh, I'm really good now, I'm fixed. I thought I was fixed. But then I'd get injured again, and then he'd be like, oh, get through it, because you know you'll feel good after time. And then I'd play, feel fixed. But at the end of the day, it was just a never-ending cycle, and it was just biting itself and then coming back and happening again.
Wow.
So, yeah.
Man, it's like you said, man, I totally get what you're saying, and it's credit to you, man, from being aware of that now. Obviously, you're at the other end of the perspective now, where you've kind of gone through that darkness and you're into the light. And you can see where you want to go, where you want to move. But just it's a really good topic. When you were in the Ospreys and when these injuries were happening, though, was it any moments where you could just kind of rest your head on a shoulder of someone or vent this out, or was it a psychologist at the club or a well-being officer? So there was a sports psychologist at the club, and obviously a lot of my good friends are there, so you could vent frustrations and stuff. But I don't know, I just would vent frustrations, and then something would happen again, like, so those frustrations would just come straight back. And then
in my head, I never saw the signs. I never saw it come in.
Yeah.
So it was just hitting me like a ton of bricks, and then I'd have no focus outside of rugby to be able to turn to. So then it's hard then, and within a rugby environment, a lot of people are in the same situation. So then you start venting to each other, and it comes back a lot of like negative stuff.
Yeah.
Because you're like, oh, I'm in the same position as you. I feel the same way. And then it's like, oh, both of us don't know what to do to fix it. Like,
it's true, man. It's like one thing I find about rugby as well, that it's like or sports. Let's just call it sports. That's normally people's escape, like you said. Like that's a moment of an hour of on a day or whatever it is. If you're full time, where it's like, this is my time now. This is my happiness. My endorphins are up. My my serotonin's even better. And then we tend to then I've noticed even now in clubs, not many people talk that way. Like not many people go, you know what, man, I've been feeling depressed lately. Because it's just like, I feel like people, your common interest is what's going on right now, lifting weights or passing the ball or working on. So everything is talked about rugby, but it's not actually talking about you. It's not actually talking about me. It's not actually talking about us in a deeper level. But then, what was your vice then? What was your vice in that moment to kind of escape that feeling of injuries and like, that in the time of playing?
Yeah, so that's the thing looking back now. I probably didn't have one. So I had nothing really going on outside of rugby. So my life was rugby. It was all rugby. I'd go home, I'd go for a coffee or something with the boys, but I was afraid to talk about my feelings because it's like, as you said, there's that stigma around it where you're like, oh, I don't want to say, oh, I'm depressed. A lot of people don't like using that word. But it's like, that's what I was in. I was like, oh, I can't say I'm depressed now. And like, it's just, what's happened like since I've come out and said it is I'm finding it easier having conversations with some people that I don't really know that well. Like we had our first call online and it was like all of a sudden you could open up.
Yeah, it's just normal.
So, and it was just normal, but we didn't even know each other. And it's the same with like my close family. It was like, I don't want to admit to my close family that I'm like depressed. I don't want them to know that. So it's quite nice just having conversations sometimes with random people.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like they'd be like, "Oh, mate, I've been in the same situation as you." Like,
so true. It's crazy when these things happen. You talk to people that you wouldn't think you talk to, but they can relate in a different way. Like the people who I was close with, let's relate into your time when I was in that position. Not many of them in that rugby team are really there or really understood. It's like you see people in the army, or people who have been in service. They're all buddies in that moment. But when you're out of that circle, when you're in the rehab group, or when you're not in that playing game, in that weekly game, you just it's like you're not in that clique at the moment.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not intentional, but it just happens.
It just happens. You don't feel part of that group, like, because I remember when I was in the rehab group for a while, and boys would have success playing on a Saturday and stuff. You'd be like, oh, you can't celebrate. Like, so you're like, I don't feel as if I've done anything to contribute to that. So then you feel like a little bit worthless. You're like, what's the point of me being here? Like in this group, because I'm not actually contributing on the training field, helping them if I'm not playing, helping them prepare for the weekend. And then I'm not actually doing anything on the weekend either to help them play when they play it.
And you feel, I can connect, man. I'm feeling this because it's like, I've been there injured, sitting on the sideline watching a team win, and you're on that team, for instance, but you're not playing, and you're just like, am I in you? And I'm the king of rehab, bro. I'm clapping new people in, and I'm clapping them out while I was sitting there just injured the whole time. So I know what you're saying. But no, man, it's been amazing getting to know you and getting understand and relate, man. I can relate so much to you in your headspace where you're at, and just seeing what you're doing now is amazing. What was the final straw for you to go, fuck, I'm done here?
The final straw for me where I struggled the most was when, so mentally I had struggles, but then, so those mental struggles through stress, anxiety and stuff, they actually caused physical changes within my body. So like hair loss, I first started in my beard, started falling out, and there's like patches on my head.
Really?
that started falling out. So for me, that's when I was like, oh, shit. This is getting real now.
Because you're seeing physical
Because I'm seeing physical changes, whereas I always thought I could hide my mental struggles. Because no one can see them. But everyone can see this.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And that's when it's like, shit, I can't hide this no more. And I was doing stuff to try and hide it, like growing my hair up longer or stuff like that. But it was just like, come to the point then where I was like, I'm tired of doing all this.
Yeah.
What's the point of me being here doing this? Like, I've got no one to turn to. How I felt I had no one to turn to. So I was just like, oh, I'm done.
Yeah. Well, like I said, man, it's probably a blessing that something physically shown, because then people are like, okay, we need to take action now. You know, who you might have been to, you turn to your parents or a close friend, or surely that moment when you seen the hair like lost, did you turn to someone and go, fuck, this is not right? Yeah,
so it was around Christmas time where I was like, shit, I trained. I didn't have the best training session. So I was like, head gone. I just grabbed my bag, went home, and I rung my dad. And I was like, Dad, I'm really struggling in the minute. And he was like, okay, fine. We'll have a conversation when I get home. So got home. And then he was like, right, let's do something. Let's go to surgery. And then that's when I started on my meds. So on antidepressants. So just on them initially, on antidepressants. So I was on them for 2 months. And then it got to the stage where I was still like, I had no purpose, I had no point. I was still trying to battle through rugby, trying to hide the hair loss, trying to do all sorts to try and make myself feel better, but nothing was working. So then I was like, 5th of February, I was just like, it was a Sunday, meant to be back in training on the Monday, and I was just like, oh, I'm not doing it. And that's when I then overdosed on that Sunday night.
Shit, man. Powerful, though. Wow. Yeah, that's hey, it's a big one, but good on you for speaking up as well, and good on you for reaching out to your dad. Like, did you notice a difference when you're on those antidepressants? Did you notice a difference?
Not initially in those first two months, because I didn't actually change my habits. So I was taking antidepressants, but I was still trying to live my normal life, of normal life as I used to live it. So it was like, whether that be going out on the weekend, having a few drinks, whether it be coming home from training and like nap on the sofa for like 2-3 hours. Yeah. And I wouldn't sleep in the night.
Yeah, it's all out of rhythm then.
It was just all over the shop. Like it was going to rugby. I got injured as well in beginning of January. So it was just like, I'm on these antidepressants where I was expecting them to fix me and I could still live the way that I did. But it obviously didn't work. But now I'm on different meds now after the overdose. I'm on antidepressants and anxiety medication. So my anxiety gets really bad whenever I go into new situations. So like, for example, coming up today on the train, like,
fuck, you would have been up then.
It's like, anxiety was high. So, but like the doctors give me one so I can take it at any point I start feeling anxious. So I carry one around with me every day. And if I need it then I can just take it. So that's helped massively, like, and what that's allowed me to do is to realise when I'm starting to feel anxious. So I can see the signs now. My heart starts pumping faster. I start looking round because I'm not comfortable in like the situation, and that's when I know, I gotta take one. But like the big change that's happened in these last 2-3 months has been my habits. Like we had a conversation around this. So like before bed, like I'd light a candle before bed, half hour before bed, do a bit of reading. Like I would have never done that before. I haven't read since school. Do you know what I mean? Like I would just think, oh, why would I read? Like it don't do anything. But actually it's like I can sleep so much better now doing stuff like that. It's I've completely taken alcohol out of my life.
Amazing. So
I don't drink any alcohol now, and I don't actually miss drinking alcohol. I can sit there on a Saturday night and be like, oh, do you know what? I'm not bothered. The boys are all out, because I know I'm going to wake up on Sunday, feel amazing. Whereas I used to be like, I'd be Saturday night, it'd be like 9 o'clock, boys would go out. I'd say I'm not going out. I'd see them put like Snapchats or Instagrams up. And all of a sudden I'd be upstairs changed and out joining them like. But now my mindset's totally changed in that respect, in getting good habits, getting into good habits, but also giving me a different focus then as well. So like my business that's growing now, the personal training that I'm doing like for myself is the best I've trained in God knows how long, because I'm just so focused on being like a better version of me, both physically and mentally.
Yeah.
And I'm just reaping the rewards now these last couple of months. And that's why I got to the point last Wednesday where I was like, I'm so strong now, where I feel as if I can share my story. And like I can come on a podcast here with you and just chat about everything that I've been through. Whereas I would have never done that 6 months ago.
Yeah. Mate, like everything you just said then is just bang on. It's just like you said, the medication is, if you're on it forever, if you're on it just a short term, the lifestyle changes you're doing on that thing is showing that they're benefiting you to an extent then that it might go, well, I don't require these, or doctors might start weaning you off them.
Yeah.
But you're doing things now, like, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. Like, if you're doing the same shit every day, it's nothing's going to change. But you're changing your lifestyle. Yeah. And, man, like, the more and more you spread your story, your journey, it's like the more and more you become stronger.
Yeah. That's what I feel like. The more I'm talking about it, the more I can easily have conversations with people. So if anyone asks me now, like in the street and stuff, I can be like, oh yeah, I've struggled with mental health. Whereas before I would have never been able to do that. Yeah. And I'm at a stage now where I'm openly honest with people and comfortable in speaking to people about stuff that I've been through. Yeah. And it's quite, as you said, it's quite like powerful to be able to do that, because as soon as I say it, I'm getting replies saying, oh, do you know what? I've had the exact same problems. They're like, I've had people come up to me and like even close friends have come up and spoke to me about like, oh, I get this thing when I get into new rooms where my like heart starts pumping. And I've always wondered, like, what is that? Yeah. Like, why do I feel like that? Why do I feel uncomfortable? And I'm like, oh, I get that. And now I know exactly why that happens, because I take my anxiety medicine and I'm like, oh, chills me out. Like. So it's like, it's anxiety. It's you not being comfortable in this situation. It's out of your comfort zone. So therefore, like, you change, like physically you have changes.
I find that as well, though. It's like playing sports, right? Whenever the day of a game, or, a big game happening that week, you start to get nervous. You start to get that little tingle in your stomach. Like, we don't realize it as sports or athletes that we've become more comfortable in those areas, because that is some form of anxiety. Yeah. Of not knowing what anxiety comes from, things we can't control. Yeah. Environments we've never been in. But then once that ball's kicked and once that kickoff's or the whistle's gone, or you made that first tackle or that first pass, I know this now. Yeah, it's gone. I know this is
just another rugby game. Yeah.
This is just another game. And then you become into someone that you've done from the age of 11 or 12, like you said. Now you're happy. Now you're in your flow state. And I think one thing which we build this anxiety from is the fact of that expectation of what other people think of us. Like Harry, the rugby player. That from the age of 12, you've done exceptionally well. Rising star, next best thing, youngest person to play for the Ospreys, all of these things lead to that pressure of an expectation of yourself. Now that you've ripped that Band-Aid off, that plaster off, it's like just gone,
And it's like quite nice, because you said I'd go to like even like local rugby club, and first thing everyone asks me is, how's rugby going? Yeah. And it got to the point where I was like, because obviously this has been happening for a while. I kept it to just a small circle who knew my story for a good couple of months. And then they were still asking me, how's rugby? It got to the point where I was like, I'm not going up. I'm not going to watch my local rugby club, because I'm like, so I stopped for 2 months. I didn't go up. But now I can go up. And I've been up the last couple of weeks and not one person's asked me about rugby. Yeah. And it's been like, wow, that's so refreshing to be able to have different conversations with people. Because I'd feel rude when people ask me about rugby. So I'd be like, oh yeah, rugby's going okay. And then I'd try and like get out the conversation.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I don't want to go into that. It's like rugby's 24/7 for me, was 24/7.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want to then go somewhere and speak about more rugby.
How did you feel going back to place that you left, for instance, the Ospreys? How was that anxiety of going back to an old place where some good memories there, but some, like, you know, the way it's ended, did you find any form of anxiety going back?
Yeah, definitely. But I'd actually told the Ospreys everything that had happened. So before I put my statement out, so they knew 2 months ago, a couple of weeks after it actually happened. So, and they've been amazing, to be fair. All the players have been so supportive to me, and I'm so appreciative of everything that they've done. So it was quite nice in a sense going back, because I knew they all had my back.
Yeah.
And so it was like that sort of took that pressure away. Same as my local rugby club. I told them the other week before I come out, and they all had my back. Messaging and group messaging me. And it's like, oh wow, like I have got people that's there for me. And so the anxiety going back weren't actually too bad. It was there. Yeah. But it weren't like I was in the car, sat in the car and being like, I can't do this. Yeah. I was strong enough to be able to go and do it. It wasn't to that point, like.
One thing I realised as well, though, I believe everyone should do it, and it'll happen with you. I believe the journey you're on now, I believe you're going to go on to bigger things than just sport. Like, you might even turn back to rugby one day. That's an option. But I think small town mentality, you know, everyone knows each other's business. It's a good thing because it's a community there. But the other thing is you feel like you have to explain yourself all the time. Yeah. Like, I believe the best thing that ever happened to me was just leaving for a bit. Yeah. Getting out of my comfort zone. Like, I think that's the thing, you know, you talk about, you know, going into new environments. Every day for me was a new environment when I was in Australia, and then I come over to England now. But it's just like, I don't have to, you don't have to explain your shit to anyone really. No. But because Wales in particular is just rugby union dominated. I know the football's going well now, but everyone knows rugby union in Wales. You know, from the valleys, everyone, like, when one of you win, you all win. You know? But then you feel that weight of everyone when it's not going well. Yeah. So it's just that journey of self discovery of what's next. Like, I know we've spoke about your new, you know, your business now as a coach. Yeah. Exciting things happening there. Yeah. And I think, well, from what I'm seeing in our conversations we've had, I just think, you know, sky's the limit for you now. Yeah. And
that's what, like, I'm so excited about is I've now stepped out my comfort zone. I've jumped straight into it. And it's like, it's fight or flight now. Yeah, yeah. And I'm just going to go all in. I'm loving the experience so far, and it's only been a couple of weeks. I'm connecting with people that I would have never connected with before in rugby. Yeah, yeah. And I'm having conversations with people, and they've all got similar stories to me. And it's like, wow, it's amazing. These people are like from like London, from Ireland, England, like from everywhere. And I'm like, God, this is cool. Like, I got this charity challenge now next month, and I'm going to be going to London to do one of the days. Amazing. With some athletes up there. Like, I got Paralympians doing doing the challenge with them. GB swimmers, Welsh swimmers are going to be jumping in. Footballers, Swansea City footballers are going to be doing it. So no, yes, it's really exciting. And as you said, sky's the limit. It's nice not having that sort of restriction on me anymore. I can do whatever I want. If I want to change the scenery, there's nothing stopping me now from moving to a different country and trying to build something there. I'm not contracted to the Ospreys no more. I'm my own person. Like, I can do whatever I want to do. And it's been so nice, that feeling of freedom. Freedom, yeah. That weight off you. And it's funny, man, when I get so many retired sports players coming on the podcast, right? And it's like, then they feel okay to express themselves. I'm like, fuck, people want to see you not just as that rugby player or that footballer or that golfer. They want to see you as the person. Yeah. They want to know you, you know, when you're winning, when you're losing, how you deal with adversities. Yeah. Like, as a kid, growing up, someone wants to be like you. Yeah. But they want to know that, hey, it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Yeah. Fucking the place where you get your most growth is the place where it's the hardest journey. Yeah. Definitely. I don't care what anyone says. Like,
I could sit here and be comfortable all the time and just fucking do what I want, eat shit, and, you know, muck around. Or I can take this journey of, you know, chips are all down here, and this is where I want to go, and I've got to invest in myself here and back myself.
Yeah.
And there's only one person who's going to be your biggest fan, and that's yourself.
Yeah. And like, as you pointed out before, I'm not saying goodbye to rugby forever. No. That is potentially something to go back to. Like, rugby is my love. Like, it's what I first fell in love with, was playing rugby.
Yeah, yeah.
But I want to discover who I am now. And I feel as if jumping into like the fitness world and the coaching world has brought out a different side to me that I never even knew I had. Like, I used to be uncomfortable having conversations with people I didn't know. I can now walk into a cafe, if someone has a conversation with me, I can have good conversations with them. Bringing out that confidence in me. Amazing. And that's coming back, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm a better person. Yeah. I'm busy all the time. I'm constantly doing things. And it's been really, really energizing. Yeah. I'm waking up every morning and I'm like, right, what have I got planned today? Yeah, yeah. Seeing different people doing different things. Whereas I used to be wake up and I'd be like, oh, I'm training today. Yeah, yeah. Seeing all the same people again today. Yeah. And you always have those whingy fuckers at rugby. Like in the sports team, you always have, oh, I'm sore. Yeah, the sappers. Yeah,
the sappers. You know who you are, sappers. Yeah. It's true, man. It's like, life is what you want it to be. And you can be in a shithole, but if your mind is strong and your mind and your outlook on life is in a positive way, the sky's the limit. And just like I said, from our first conversation, man, to see, even just speaking to you now, which was probably about a month ago, just seeing the energy, you know, coming in, you're bouncing, happy, you know, there's nerves obviously coming on you now, but like as soon as you start speaking, boom, you know.
You just forget like the cameras are even here as someone. You can just have normal conversation, and this, as you said before, I would have been like sat here and been like, oh, there's cameras there. Yeah, like looking around and being like, oh shit, the cameras are like on me. I got to make sure I'm saying like the right things. But now it's just like flowing out. Yeah, yeah. I can be open. I'm not hiding anything. And it's really, really energizing and nice.
Man, you could be the man on my steak next piss and leading the way. When you're at the Ospreys, who was someone you would kind of, I suppose, admire or kind of look up to, go, I like his mentality?
Yeah, so there's obviously you've got Lloyd Ashley there, who's doing loads now for mental health and really good around the South Wales area. And then you've got this guy there called Tim Jones. So we've got a WRPA in Wales, which is like the Players Association. And Tim is like, so the worker then for WRPA that's based in the Ospreys. And wow, what an amazing guy. Like, literally would drop anything and do it for you. Wow. Sort courses out for you. Make sure you're set up for the next role. Sit down and have open and honest conversations. He's helped me out. He'd be the first person I text when I overdosed. I said, Tim, I can't come in today. I've just done this. And he's like, leave it to me. Rang my parents. My parents were home. Like he's the guy that I'm the most comfortable opening up to. And I really admire the way he works. He's so hard working. Spent, I think he was 20 odd years in the police. Then come into this. He's got his own business. Really successful. So he's definitely someone that I've looked up to there, just from a person. Not so much. He's not a rugby player. He's not one a professional rugby player. He's not famous. No one would know who he is. But the work and the hard work he does behind the scenes then for all the players is like second to none. And I think if you had anyone from the Ospreys on this podcast, he'd be a name that would be mentioned, like if you'd asked that question. So yeah, he's a really amazing man. And as also then on the other side, I've made like best friends from that team.
Of course.
Because you spend so much time with these people. You're literally with them day in, day out. You go on an away trip, you're with them for like 3-4 days. We've been to South Africa as a squad. You're with them for 2 weeks, like living with these people. And so there's a few boys there who I'd class as best mates now. So yeah, not taken away from, rugby has given me so much. Both on and off the field, through being able to be a professional rugby player, something I've always wanted to do. I haven't achieved everything that I set out to achieve, but looking now, it's like, that's fine, like. There's more to life than that. Let's be happy, because then once you're happy in life, then who knows? I could go back. I'm still young enough, luckily,
23, man.
to
You
go
got
back
ages.
and try and achieve those things that
Yeah.
I've always wanted to achieve, the goals that I've set out from a young age.
100%.
So yeah, I'll always be thankful for the connections and friendships and opportunities that rugby have given me.
Oh man, it's amazing platform rugby is like don't get me wrong, we've said, you know, the hardships of rugby, but the bittersweet, how amazing it is when things are going well. Like it's hard to grasp that feeling, that energy when you go out there or you play well, people compliment you, like your ego gets blown
boosted
up, you know,
massively. Yeah.
But then yeah, it's just the pros and cons of it, and it's trying to manage it. And I just think, you know, you going on your journey for a bit, it might only be a year, maybe less.
Yeah,
and you go,
who
you know
knows?
what?
Yeah,
And
there's no time limit to it, which is quite nice.
Yeah, and the best thing is, man, like let that body recover.
Yeah,
Let it like I had 4 years off. I 25. I retired the first time, and then I just went into triathlons for 4 years, and then 4 years of just doing me. Looking forward to having free weekends, and I do little random things. I went, you know, I started connecting with people not even in the rugby circle, and you start having conversations, networking, talking about ideas. You get excited about whoa, what would I be if it wasn't for sport? You know, what other talents have I got? And that's where everything comes from. It's like some people out there struggle to find their purpose. Some of us struggle to find or, you know, the word happiness or contentment, I like to say. But if you, for instance, look around your circle of friends, right? Every one of you have something more naturally talented than the other person. So like, for instance, in my circle, I might be the slowest, but there's this guy that was like, if we didn't train, we never trained. He's just naturally faster than me, right?
Yeah.
We've got someone who's naturally funny. We've got someone who's just smart.
Yeah.
And, you know, you find out and you're like, okay, well, what have I got in what have I got that's my gift out of just like the 4 or 5 people in my circle? Identify that. And it'll take a bit of time, but you'll notice, I'm good at this. All right, well, what can you do in that area? Give it a go. Just give it a go. If it doesn't work out, you tried. You reevaluate, you go again. You know, like so many people sit in this pocket of, this is a job I've done from school, and nothing wrong with those jobs, but they might actually hate it, but then they have this feeling of trap. Like I spoke to, one of the rugby guys in our team, and he was talking about, you know, I hate my job. Okay. But I'm kind of stuck now. They're like, you know, well, I got a car on finance. I got a mortgage now. You know, Mrs. is pregnant. Well, you know, you're not stuck. You might just have to go back 2-3 steps to go 10 steps forward, but it might take a little bit longer. You know, it's just kind of like you create in the mind that you're trapped, but you're not actually trapped. No. So it's
and it's like I'm the freedom to try different things as well, and that's definitely what this break from rugby has given me, is that time to try, and it's trying to get into the mindset of don't be afraid of trying different things. As you said, if it don't work out, it don't work out. There we are. We just scrap it off and we'll try a different thing. Do you know what I mean? Like there's always different things you can try. So don't be afraid of doing it, because a lot of people are like in that mindset of not trying it because they think they'll fail. Yeah. So they're already thinking negatively. Yeah. That they're gonna fail before they've even started it.
100%. And it's like, how many times as a play in training not look good or not come off, and you're going, fuck, scrap that.
Scrap it straight away.
We'll go back to what works here, or we'll go back to something, we'll create something else. And then it's just finding that click. Yeah. But you just got to, you know.
You just keep trying different things, you know, and all of a sudden then it'll click one day and you're like, oh my God.
There we go.
But you'll never know unless you try.
100%. How was it at the Ospreys? I know you had, you know, other scrum halves there, you know, Reece Webb. Yeah. I'm trying to think. I don't know what year did you sign there? 2000 and...
So I was 2016, 17.
Was Haberfield there?
Yeah, Habers was there.
He's a good fella, man.
Yeah, really good bloke.
They're both from Bridgend,
Townie
boys.
Yeah, Townies. Yeah, so, yeah, like, even though they were in the same position as me, the scrum halves are some of my closest mates there, so I got on really well with Habers when he was there. He was only there for a short time when... I was there, so he was there for, I think it was a year or two. But yeah, what a bloke. I remember my first training session with the firsts, obviously a difficult thing. I was like 16, I think, coming in. And I remember the night before, Habers texted me being like, mate, I'm coming to yours to pick you up to go to training. And I was just like, oh my God, I needed that. Amazing. Because I was like, that, as you said, the anxiety and stuff of going into first training session with the first is like shit, I don't even know where to go. I don't know where the change rooms are. I don't know where we go for food, what to do before training starts. Like, but he was like, mate, I'm there. I'll pick you up. And I was just like, wow, what a good guy. Like,
every club needs a Tom Haberfield.
So he's really good. Obviously, get along with Webby. Gone on to achieve amazing things in the game. Ruben. He's actually is actually my business partner now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. Like the fact that
same position as well.
Same position. So like, I think that's the good thing about rugby is people would look at it from the outside and be like, "Oh, you play the same position. You must not like each other." Where it's like, no, it don't work like that. It's like, yeah, we're competitive in training, but we don't take it off the field and be like, "Oh, you're dick because you're in the same position as me. I'm not speaking to you." You leave that in the training field, like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's the same as like if boys were to have like scrapped in training, like it happens.
Yeah, it does.
But then it's like walk off the pitch, and all of a sudden they speak into each other as you walk the change rooms, and you're looking at it, you're like, 5 minutes ago these two were like punching each other, and it's like now they're walking up the change room talking absolutely as if nothing's happened. So yeah, and then obviously Orbs then, so Matthew Aubrey, the others come off during my time there, and then there's a few younger guys that's come through as well. But yeah, that's sort of my position. But yeah, it's just, I think that's shows how good rugby is someone I was competing against, I'm now in business with. Do you know what I mean? It's quite cool to think of it like that, because a lot of people would be like, oh, you shouldn't like each other because you're trying to play in the same position in the same team. But it's like, I don't look at it like that.
Yeah. What was it, an easy transition or easy decision to pick now going from rugby into the coaching space, PTing?
Yeah, definitely. So while I was in rugby, so I sort of coach my local rugby club, and really enjoy the coaching aspect of it. I really enjoy seeing people get better. I enjoy being able to create sessions that create enjoyment. And especially now, since I'm more clued up and clear with my own thoughts, I'm looking forward to being able to put that into practice, because I know how important, one, the fitness side and the physical side of keeping active and healthy helps the mind, but also me having the ability to create sessions that can do that for other people.
Nice.
So coaching is always something that I've been excited about, and something that I've always wanted to do. Is just now trying to find, as you said, connecting with the right people to help you on that journey. So still in that sort of process now, as I'm new to the sort of the fitness coaching side of it. I've got my qualifications, but it's a completely different world to what I've been used to.
100%.
So it's finding those like right people at the minute now to be able to bounce off and sort of guide you on the right path.
And you can't, for instance, at rugby, you can call effing this, effing that to the boys, but you can't call that to someone.
Can't do that to the general public, like, who's come for a session? And you're like, you can't do that.
No, good, man. Well, look, man, it's been amazing speaking to you. And like I said, man, I'm excited to watch your journey and just see you succeed in life.
Yeah.
And I'd like to see where you're at in a year or two's time.
Yeah. It's exciting.
It is, mate. It is. One thing I always ask before we wrap up is just, what are you grateful for? Yeah.
So what I'm grateful for, especially after these last couple of months, is just my health. Thankfully, I'm still here. Even though I tried ending my life a couple of months ago, I'm still here. I'm healthy. I'm fit. I'm healthy. I'm living my best life at the minute. I've got that freedom. I'm looking at new adventures. I'm taking on different things. So yeah, I'm just glad for my health and glad that I'm still here to be able to talk to you today and share my experiences.
Amazing, man. Thank you so much. And I'm grateful for you coming up today. I'm grateful for health, and I'm more importantly, like, just excited to see what's ahead, like I just said. But thank you so much, brother.
Thanks, mate.
Don't just talk it, walk it.